Welcome back. Here's another video about improvements and updates to version 26. So let's look at what we've done in more detail. At the beginning here, we are going to spend some time in version 25 to show you all the different areas of improvement. So one thing that we've noticed in the past is that you would be spending time swapping between all the different modules back and forth quite frequently. So we've looked at it more closely to see how can we improve that. So here's one of those examples of where you'd be switching back and forth between different model areas. Currently we're in the roofing design, and maybe you were working on rafters and all kinds of details in here, and you may have noticed, oh, I forgot something, so you jump back into roof calculation to change maybe the size of the roof or change the chimney, do some of the changes that you can do in the roof calculation just to jump back into roof design. You continue and maybe then you realize, I made some mistakes in the buildup of the roof, and so you'd be jumping back and forth between these multiple modules multiple times. We can prevent those swaps between the two different model areas in the future because we combined roof calculation and roof design to form one area called roof. A second area where we've made an improvement is inside of here. You can still see that we have floor plan, plan views, wall design, floor decks, and floor design. We've actually eliminated the floor decks area now and included that inside of floor plan. Let's change over to version 26 into the floor plan. You'll now see that in this area you don't have the option to select floor decks anymore, and if we open up roof, you'll also see that we don't have roof calculation nor do we have roof design anymore. We just have roof now. So let's go into the roof and have a look at how we can now view all of our different components. We can simply, through the selection of these presets up here, we can choose different areas. So now I clicked on number 3. You can see that there is elements in here. We can turn those off if we don't want to see them. That's those red lines right there. Or I can simply click on number 4 if I want to work in the roof design, look at these rafters and the different components in the roof. So let's look at that in a little bit more detail. If I go up into number 1 here, into the different program modules, we'll now see that we are missing floor decks right in here. We'll also notice that we don't see roof calculation nor roof design anymore. That's now all combined in this one module roof up here. A bigger change we will see if I go into the roof and then in menu number 2, roof side and truss. So this menu used to be quite short, but what we now find in here is that we have this entire section here with roof calculation. We also have the roof layout in here now and the dormers. And lastly, we also find the trusses in here now. In number 3, we can now see that we can edit the roof shapes in here. We can also work on different roof sections, for instance, the overhangs, and we also find all the openings below that. In menu number 4, we can now see that we have all the closure boards in here. We also have sheathing, battens, and tiles. These are generally settings that we previously found in the menu roof calculations. So furthermore, in menu 5, 6, 7, 8, and so on, we don't have any changes at all. Really, the main changes are here in 2, 3, and 4, where we integrated the functionality of the roof calculation module into this area. Let's go into the module area floor decks, which has now been integrated into the floor plan. If I go into menu number 1, drawings, we can now see that floor deck drawings are now integrated in here. That was obviously integrated in its own module previously. And if we go into number 2 here, we can now see manage floor deck properties and floor decks in here integrated in this area as well. Furthermore, if I go into menu number 3 here, I will now find an entire new section here to edit walls and ceilings. And also in this separate area, we can now find a bunch more options here. We do notice now that if we go into walls, that there is a submenu here that we previously didn't have. But you will see that we will actually end up visiting that a lot less because we've integrated a lot more into the contextual menu, so the right click on your mouse. To sum it up, in this wall editing area here, we have now also integrated the ceiling processes as well. In menu area number 4, we've always found the doors and window openings in here. Now we've also integrated the ceiling openings in here. I can say that this is probably fairly intuitive that we've added that into here, and we have thus reduced one of the module areas over here, taking that functionality away from over here and putting it here. I'm certain that this will be fairly intuitive to you as well. One thing that is important to note, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit here, one of the changes that was done here is that you can see the usual reference line here in red. And previously we would have had our ceiling elements in red as well. We've now changed that color to be a cyan here. Right now you can see that turquoise, greenish cyan color so that you don't confuse these ceiling elements with the reference axis that we see here in red. So you may ask yourself, what about the different settings that we know from previously? Obviously, some changes needed to be done, but for the most part, they are unchanged. We do have some changes in the area of roof calculation and roof design because those were combined. For the most part, all the settings stayed 1-to-1. There are some minor changes to the icon bar and such that we obviously needed to make because we combined those model areas. Obviously, as far as short keys are concerned, if you have any special short keys that you set up for yourself, some custom ones that you would have to still do again. But as far as display settings, we have provided you with some standard presets. For instance, the elements here in number 3. Number 4, we have the roof design. In Germany, it is number 6. Here, it's number 4. And then obviously standard everything on number 1 and then everything off in number 2. One thing I'll also quickly point out that obviously by reducing the floor decks module, we now also needed to add some more icons into the icon bar. So obviously there was some changes made in here, but I will point out again that there's a lot more going on in your contextual menu with your right mouse click, and you will find that you'll probably use the icon bar a lot less. And we tried to keep it to 2 rows here anyways, not to overwhelm you. But you'll see with the contextual menu that things are going to be a lot less needed up here. If we go into the model area floor plan, you will now find that the icons that were previously used for floor decks are not found in the icon bar. If you'd like to use those, you would have to add them custom, but for now they have been left out of the icon bar. And with that, I wish you a lot of success working in the new version 26, and hopefully you'll save a lot of time by reducing the switches between the different model areas.